Well, good afternoon, everyone. I think we'll go ahead and get started on this next version of our call to touch base with folks on this time of social distancing and share some information, but most importantly, hear how you're all doing and how you're addressing critical needs for the young people in your community at this interesting time. So thanks for folks for sharing video if you're able. It is nice just to see friendly faces, and a lot of us are working without seeing friendly faces every day. Well, except hopefully families friendly faces. So let's just take our temperature for start, if you would, just in the chat box. Let's just share where we are right now and just share something that you're doing to take care of yourself at this time. So you want to just put a response in the chat box, and we'll just see what everybody's trying to do to take care of themselves. I see lots of getting outside, taking care of our physical health, taking care of our mental health with video chats and prayer and talking to a doctor. I see some baking to relax. That sounds good. Board games. Oh, yeah, tools to assist in helping work from home and also being the teacher. So that's a positive spin on another challenge we're dealing with too. Consistent sleep, which is a challenge for all of us in these times too. Online board games. Yeah, lots of video chatting and just connecting with folks. And that's great. So thanks for sharing that too. Just some reminders that we do need to take care of ourselves in this time while we're trying to take care of all of our mentors and mentees in our programs. I think you can see our slide, some things we're going to cover today, but most importantly is just the next thing, and just want to hear from you. And let's talk about, sorry about that. Let's hear from you again. This can be in chat or unmute yourselves and go ahead and please share what successes you've had and what are some challenges that you'd like to talk about. So I know folks are looking for some ideas about ways to handle match support and some activities for programs. So if you want to share some of your successes, or if you want to share a challenge or what's on your mind today too. So just open it up. You can unmute yourself if you'd like to share something with the group or ask a question to the group. So how are people finding out that their matches are still connecting?
Hi, this is Colleen with Helping Services. So our programs initially sent out letters to our families, just kind of letting them know that right now we were suggesting no face-to-face. And then we did a follow-up email, text, and Facebook posting, just reminding them that we were here, giving them some resources on how to talk to youth about COVID, a source for youth to use, a source for mentors, and then a source for parents and guardians. And then this week we are planning to do some kind of like YouTube-y, TikTok videos of our own
Fun.
where like me and my daughter will make homemade Play-Doh from home, and we'll record it step by step, and then we're going to post it on our Facebook site and send it out to our families as ideas that they can do at home. And then for our mentors, you know, here's things that you can do down the road when you can start to see each other face to face again. Just giving them the support that we're still here. Our mentors have still been sending letters, texting, and calling with their youth as much as they can, and doing, usually we do monthly check-ins. Right now we're kind of doing it at least every other week and checking in with our families and our mentors more than normal. So that's kind of what we've done.
Great. Thanks, Colleen. Jamie, I see you texted in chat. Can you unmute yourself and tell us a little bit more about your Facebook workplace platform where your matches are connecting?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, Jamie.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I've never used my computer audio before, but I couldn't call in. So Facebook has this thing called Workplace now. I think it's more supposed to be used for like businesses and organizations. But I made individual groups for each match. So and they're private groups, so they can still continue to talk within their group, but we can still observe it as, I mean, we like new op can to make sure, you know, everything's appropriate and everything's fine. But it kind of gives them that like level of privacy. But then there's also a general group which everyone's in, and they can share ideas or tips of what they're doing within their own matches. There's also a group for those participants that are waiting. So maybe if they are talking, you know, as a group while we're waiting, then who knows, after all this is over, maybe they'll be like, hey, I really connected with this person on Facebook. Maybe we could be a match. Wishful thinking. So there's that. And then there's also, you can link, we do all of our activity logs on SurveyMonkey. So you can link those SurveyMonkey, different ones, to the workplace groups as well. So then it makes them easier to find it. You can also link like Zoom to it. So then if you're going to do a Zoom call, the link to get onto Zoom is right there as well. It just makes it really easy to kind of share with everyone. We have been using Innovative for the longest time to send out messages to all of our participants at once. I've kind of struggled with that just because I don't like the fact they can't email you back through Innovative. So this way they can private message me also in the Facebook workplace. So that's kind of nice. If I want to send out a message to everybody, I can send it to everybody. They can probably message me back. I think it'll just make it a lot smoother. I think Facebook's a thing that everybody's pretty familiar with. And so hopefully it'll just be an easy way for everyone to kind of keep in contact with. That's my hope on it.
Thanks, Jamie. If people wanted to learn about how you're facilitating that, would you be open to questions? I could.
Yeah, definitely.
Everyone's email is on the calendar invite, so you could find Jamie's at New Ops. So if Facebook is a platform that you allow your matches to use, and you could talk to her about how that's working for them. And she posed a challenge for them. I know this is something other programs are thinking about, is how to host some group activities when you can't meet in person. Does anybody have they're hosting any group online activities? Is Bailey on from Mills County?
I don't know, but this is Cassie, and
okay, go ahead, Cassie.
Okay. So I tried out some of the links that you provided in the Iowa Mentoring Partnerships newsletter. So the first one on there was the Bingo Maker and Virtual Bingo. So I created a Google Classroom for all of the students that are peer mentoring in our Club M program across the district. So there 32 have signed on as students. There's a lot more than that, but those have at least said yes to the invitation. And then we played virtual bingo during the time that we typically do mentoring. So at 3:45 on Wednesday last week, we did virtual bingo. We had 4 people join us. So that's a start. And what I didn't like was that you couldn't chat or talk or anything in it. So when I pull it up, I can't see how many people are playing or not playing or anything. So that was the unfortunate part. It kind of took away the social aspect of it that we were kind of hoping to get. So good and bad with that, but hey, we tried something.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for the review, letting us know how that worked, right? And Cassie, thanks for sharing too that you set up a Google Classroom, because they are school-based, and so that's something that students are familiar with, is using Google Classroom, and they just create their own classroom for their mentoring program. So that might be another option for online program. And Bailey, I know you facilitated another another group activity. And do you want to talk about what platform you used for that?
Yes. So we typically meet on Thursdays for group mentoring, and we usually just have the kiddos in our group. But we allowed for our mentors and parents and guardians to join as well, and we used Facebook, and we did a group chat that way. However, we found out that we couldn't have as many people on there as we wanted to. So this week we are going to do Zoom. So Christy and I are going to work on practicing with Zoom, and we're going to meet every Thursday at 5:30. We'll be doing group mentoring, and last week Christy did a big thing on hand washing, and we did kind of our focus with COVID-19, but we want to keep it light. So this week we're going to do like a game. So all the kids will just be required to have like a piece of paper and a pencil. And then we'll do some type of activity that only requires them to have like a paper and pen or pencil. And we'll do it via Zoom this week.
Thanks. And I know I can't remember how the numbers have increased astronomically for Zoom users. And they are hosting almost daily trainings on Zoom on their platform too. I think twice a day actually too. So if that's a platform you're interested in using, I suggest that you look at their trainings offering. I don't want to lose an early post, an early comment. Brianna asked about match support. Brianna, do you want to unmute yourself and tell us a little bit more about what you're looking for match support, and see what other folks are doing? Brianna, are you able to unmute? So I know this is a concern for a lot of. Oh, that's how you're contacting your bigs. Okay, thanks, Brenda. I thought you were looking. I know this is a concern for folks, just to have increased match support, just to check in with mentees' families and to see how they're doing and all the other stressors that they're dealing with in their lives, as well as checking with our mentors as well. So Deborah says our program is school-based, no contact. She's been taking care of herself by FaceTiming. Oh, she's doing all kinds of things. So fun ideas there too that people might use to use in match support as well. Lynn, tell us about Ashton Kutcher's giving us a little tip for some online platform. What do you know about Loom?
I haven't investigated it yet, but I know he's I get text messages from him periodically, and he's been promoting Loom as another alternative to Zoom, and I think offering that free right now. But he's wanted to also make sure everybody knew that he is an investor in it. So, but it is similar, and he's got all kinds of helpful tips that were helping connect people with others, and that was the positive part about what he was pushing. So yeah, check out Loom, which is pretty similar apparently, and one letter difference. So
interesting.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know much else from Ashton Kutcher off the top of my head.
Anything else you want to share about how things are going for you?
We are, I'm in the one in the office. Everybody's working from home otherwise. And basically in match support, they've been just trying to, with bigs, everybody is, we're trying to get them to continue to connect electronically or in some sort of video manner. I like the idea of some activity that we could do. We just haven't gone that direction because I think I've been too busy in another grant writing thing going on right now. But for the most part, really just trying to follow up with what's going on with the family and what can we do for referrals as well. Because knowing that, there's just a variety of things that can happen when a family is, automatically in a quarantine situation that, could be financially that they need some referrals for some help for the family. It could be a lot of things, food, it could lots of things. So we're just really aware of what's going on in our community and how we can connect families to what fits their needs at this point in time, knowing that some of our situations even are changing, like the school buses in our school district in Marshalltown are actually delivering noon lunches to the neighborhoods.
Great. Yeah, there's just a lot to keep up on, like you said, ever-changing needs of the families, and just making sure we're keeping tabs on those and connecting them with other resources that are available. It is hard. I think just like it's hard for programs and for us, for you to keep up on all the new information as it comes out for all of us. It's just the same thing with families, and looking at resources for them becomes overwhelming as well. Joellen, thanks, shared the Loom link in the chat box, so that's there for you too to check out. Anyone else have a question they'd like to pose to the group, or something they want to share that they've been doing? Kristen, you want to share how things are going up in Sioux City?
Sure. We sent out kind of like an email encouraging our bigs that we're kind of following our governor with the social distancing. So unfortunately, a lot of them are upset, especially new matches that maybe only got to meet once or twice. So trying to find new ways to stay connected and build that relationship. We have a couple different places where you can pick up art supplies or different things. So we've had some bigs drop them off on the doorsteps, and then as they're in their car and the little comes out to get them, they send us a picture. So we shared those on our Facebook page. I've had bigs like ship things from Amazon and Target to their little to do, since they can't get together and do the craft. They can send it to their little. We're encouraging our littles, which is hard, but to reach out to their mentors, to text them, to write them a letter. The bigs are sending letters, so just kind of to keep them connected during this time.
Yeah, we mentioned the letters before. I just don't think we can overlook that at all, that everyone likes to get mail. And a lot of these kids have probably never gotten a piece of mail before. So it's pretty exciting. And
the bigs too, something besides the bill coming these days.
Exactly. Great.
My little and I are going to be 10 years this month. So I have flowers being delivered to her on our anniversary. So just different things to keep it going, since we can't go out and do our normal dinner and hang out on our anniversary day. So just switching it up and finding other things we can do to stay connected.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Kristen.
Yeah.
And Morgan, do you want to tell us about Discord to communicate when doing online board games with friends? I don't know if this will could get around the issue with the bingo or not. What's Discord?
So Discord is basically just an app that allows you to use voice, video, and text. I tend to use it with my friends in order to do online board gaming, so we're all talking while we're playing the game. And it could be something that you can use to get everyone into Discord in order to help facilitate that chatting when playing, like doing the bingo maker and such like that.
Okay.
It's free to use. Just someone has to host the event. And then you just send an invite out and have people sign up.
Is there a limit on the number of users?
I have not found a limit. I can look real quick, but I have not found a limit on how many users can be on at any one time.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Morgan. Yolanda, did you have something you wanted to share on the screen?
Is that Discord? It's just similar to texting or messaging, I think, Morgan.
It's basically similar to like what we're doing now with Teams, where we can kind of talk into the microphone and have other people hear us. It also has the chat function built into the system as well.
Okay, so you could use that or Zoom or maybe Google Hangouts. Would they all be similar in nature then?
They all would be very similar in nature, yeah.
Okay,
I just tend to use Discord when I'm just doing audio only because it tends to work the best, I found, for that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Morgan.
No problem.
Any other questions people would like to pose for the group, how they're handling different situations? Has anyone been pursuing all of the small business grants and loans, and how's that going for folks? Nobody wants to talk about filling out paperwork and challenges? Angie, how are things going in Storm Lake?
Pretty good. I've been helping when I could. We have a list of people that can sign up for meal delivery. So that's one of the things that I've been doing. So I've been able to see some of the kids when we do that. And now just trying to work on ways to try to keep the mentors connected with the mentees. Have had a few mentors send, letters, email notes, and then I've been sending those off, but just trying to figure out easier ways for everybody to be able to stay connected.
Great, thanks. And Yolanda did share on the PPP application is easy, but waiting on the bank to process. And I have heard that from other nonprofits as well, that the bank is the holdup. So do your part on your end and then see where it goes. I will continue to monitor the chat, or if you have something else you want to share, obviously just chime in. But we do have some other information to share, and Nicole is going to share reminders about some of the resources that were in the IMP newsletter.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. We just wanted to highlight a couple of things, resources that were in the last newsletter, and some of these topics have come up already in our discussion. So the first one, in match support in the newsletter, there is a link to a helpful document from the Search Institute. So it's building developmental relationships during the COVID-19 crisis. So this could be used for match support or for mentors connecting with their mentees. So they take each of their 5 core areas. So expressing care, challenging growth, providing support, sharing power, and expanding possibilities, which is part of their framework. And then for each of those, they have a list of different concrete examples of actions or questions to check in with the mentees, specifically related to what's going on right now with COVID-19 and people being quarantined and isolated. So, for example, under the category of challenging growth, it's to ask the youth what they are doing to help others themselves, parents, siblings, neighbors, community, etc. So it's a whole checklist and different ways to connect during this time. So check that out if you haven't already. It might be helpful for you for match support or to share with mentors. The next one was the activities. So some of these have already been shared out, but Morgan worked on gathering a great list of online activities for youth and that matches could do together. So there's all kinds of different activities. We've kind of talked about the bingo and the virtual card games and board games. There's virtual tours of zoos, aquariums, museums that the matches could do together. There's music lessons, a Minecraft project, virtual movie nights. So just a great place to start if you're wanting to share match activities or to plan a group activity for your program. And definitely if you run across other ideas that we haven't mentioned, please share with us, as we're always looking for other ways too. We shared about the new e-mentoring platform that is being made available through I Could Be and Mentor National have partnered to create a free virtual mentoring portal. So if you click on that link in our newsletter, it takes you right to that website so you can check it out. And then also, if you are interested and want to find out more, click on the online interest form because that will be very helpful for Mentor and I Could Be to figure out how many programs are interested. Mary, was there anything more on that note that you wanted to share?
No, but I was curious. I know programs had expressed interest. I was curious if anyone has heard back from I Could Be, if any programs are connected on that. You can put that in chat. Angie has said yes. So Angie, what do you know?
I just did it today and they've already gotten back to me and told me like the next steps, like they just want a list of the mentees' names and the mentors' names. Okay. So that's just the only spot that I'm at. Looks like someone's maybe a little bit ahead of me on that.
Okay.
I'll let them talk.
Thanks, Felicia at YSS.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Yes, thanks.
So I went through the training and one of my staff last Thursday. We're struggling on our end to get connected with the mentees and the mentors. So we haven't filled out the spreadsheet that they've sent or the agreement, but I told her we'd work on that this week and see who we can get. But the training was nice to kind of do ahead of time so that we knew what we should be saying when we're trying to talk to mentees and their parents and then the mentors. So it was helpful. I think it's a nice tool for us if we can get to a point where we have some good communication with our school-based matches.
Thanks, Felicia. So was the training is about the portal and then also just like best practices in e-mentoring?
The training, now I'm trying to remember. The training did kind of walk through like what we'd have to do on our end in terms of like the administrative tasks, kind of walked through how the mentee would set up their username and get set up in the portal. Which I don't know for others that go through it, but we thought about doing the setup part on our end instead of leaving that up to the students. So for anyone going into it, think about that too, because it could be challenging for some of these students to set themselves up in a system by themselves. So a little fresh, that's only for 13 and up because most of our kids are younger than that. So
thank you for, that is important. And often in school-based programs, if they have emails, addresses from school, that's the email they're using. And then you know what they are. And if you want to set up, like you said, so you're using so you know what the passwords are, that's helpful too. So they're not locked out and you can overcome that barrier.
Well, and they did mention that there's no way for us as the administrators or for them to know the passwords. So we can't keep that on our end. It's all through their secure system.
Okay.
It's a really cool system. It's just able to get people on there is going to be a struggle given what we're all trying to do. So.
But it's just a really another great resource for us to use if it works for your program. Nicole, did you want to finish up with other resources?
Yeah. So then the last section of resources was about different options for financial support. One of the links is an article that explains what the CARES Act on the federal level means for nonprofits. And then the other links are state specific. So just wanted to highlight to check out all of those different resources from the newsletter.
Great. Thanks, Nicole. Some other program support I want to make you aware of. The Get Connected website on Volunteer Iowa. The link is there. That's where folks can post virtual volunteer opportunities. So if you have something that a volunteer could be helping you with, and one thing I might suggest is just some of these online glitches, looking at platforms or even activities, you could post those on there. But also I know that matches are looking for things to do. Some programs do volunteer as a match, and that would be a place they could look for virtual volunteer opportunities as well. And while we're talking about the Volunteer Iowa website, I just encourage you to, you could check out the resources on there for nonprofits and for volunteering in this time of the COVID pandemic. We do have a group of Central College students who are looking to volunteer with youth serving agencies. So if you have a job that they could do virtually, anything if it's engaging the youth, like we talked about some of those match activities or helping you with tech or something like that, just shoot me a message and we'll get you connected with them. They have to fulfill some volunteering themselves or with a youth serving organization for the semester, and their in-person things have been obviously ended. And just don't forget always that the National Mentoring Resource Center, you could always request technical assistance if you'd like more in-depth help on any topic. And this could be related to issues that are going on right now and things you're trying to address with the coronavirus, or if it's just a program topic that you're trying to address in general to strengthen your program. So just always wanted to remind folks of that. So if there aren't questions about any of that, I don't see anything in chat, or if anyone has a question, you pipe in. Otherwise, I'm going to welcome our guest today from Mentor, the National Mentoring Partnership. Joellen Spacek is with us today, and I'll let her introduce herself a little bit more, but they're just trying to touch base with affiliates across the country as we connect with our programs to offer their continued support. We just mentioned the I Could Be, which is one valuable resource, but Mentor has a lot of other valuable resources for local programs. So welcome, Joellen.
Thanks, Mary, and thanks to the Iowa Mentoring Partnership for hosting these regular opportunities to get together. I'm so awed and impressed by all of your creativity and innovation and how you have adapted and flexed to make sure that young people can stay connected to their mentors. You know, you forget about the old school the letters in the mail, the snail mail feature, but thank you for reminding me. That's something I have not been doing over the last couple of weeks, and I need to do more of that. Well, I'm originally from Cedar Rapids, grew up there, and my parents and my two brothers still live in Cedar Rapids. So obviously Iowa is near and dear to my heart. And my brother actually works at Baker's Trust. And I was talking to him on Saturday night, and he said, it is crazy at the banks. So for those of you who've been trying to apply for some of those small business loans, he said the problem in part is the banks are trying to figure out how they can be more responsive to all the influx of calls and inquiries. So anyway, I will not give out his name. I promised I wouldn't advertise so that he doesn't get inundated himself. But couple things. It sounds like, again, IMP has done a great job of providing both places for you to dialogue and discuss with each other how you are being innovative and creative, but also ways that Mentor is trying to respond to the mentoring field broadly. Challenges that many of you are facing. We have done a recent survey on, and I know Mary and Nicole, Chad promoted that earlier and through one of your newsletters and other calls. But, we're hearing a lot of feedback around fundraising and the cancellation of events, that connectivity between young people, whether people either have access to technology or they have access to the actual apparatuses and devices so that they can stay connected. And then the basic needs part, those are the themes that we're hearing all over the country. And my suspicion is you can resonate with all of that. But the ways that Mentor has tried to respond is, as Mary and her team have shared, is by offering some resources on the mentoring.org website. Particularly, there'll be some additional guidance coming out around e-mentoring, one pager that is going to be coming out later part of this week. The survey that I mentioned, for those of you who have a couple minutes to share with us what your challenges are, what we're doing is taking that information and we're sharing it with funders. So if we have a better sense of, kind of what kind of financial health you are as an organization and or other challenges, it helps us make the case to national funders and then certainly vis-a-vis our affiliates to use at the local level as well. I was so happy to hear that some of you have already started using the virtual mentoring portal, and hopefully I can drop in on another one of these calls or a number of other calls just to kind of hear how it's evolving. And in particular, Felicia and Angie, thank you so much for providing some testimonials about the fact that you've adopted it and you're beginning the process. And please continue to give us feedback on how it's working for you. If you do run into any other challenges or stumbling blocks, Mentor wants to know, IMP wants to know, our partners I could be as well. The other thing that our affiliates are going to gather tomorrow to talk about is virtual training, which I suspect, Mary, you and your team may already be kind of noodling on the best way to tackle that. But how can we support you to continue to provide training and support to mentors and young people? We also are looking at another resource that potentially could provide a way for us to connect with younger age kids, those 13 and younger, elementary age. So we've got a potential partner through our Virginia affiliate who's interested in working with us with that. So, and that's kind of contingent on money and resources. But I do want to, again, just from the national perspective, tell all of you how much we appreciate the work that you're doing. We do consider the mentoring work on the front lines. You are the ones who are hearing and supporting and staying connected to your kids and families in ways that a lot of, unless you show up at the emergency room at the hospital, people don't always know what's going on in people's lives. So thank you so much for, again, your creativity, your commitment, your passion. Not a surprise to hear about all the fun things that people are doing, but just reassuring. And I want to thank you for your leadership and for your commitment to young people. And then lastly, to the IMP team, one of our best affiliates in the country. I'm a little biased, of course, but I just want to thank Mary and her team for all the great ways that they're keeping all of you connected during this time. So with that, I'd open it up for questions, unless, Mary, you wanted to facilitate anything specific in response to Mentor's resources.
No, I just appreciate you being on. And yes, if anyone has a question that they'd like to ask Joellen, this goes straight to Mentor. Here she is. So if you have anything or like requests even for resources, not that she's the magic fairy and can grant it to us immediately, but that's why she's on, to hear what needs that folks have. So anything that people would like to see. Or any other question for her, or anything that she mentioned. Well, if not, that means you're doing a great job, Joellen.
I think IMP has got it covered. That's kind of how this is supposed to work. So thanks to everybody. But if you think of something later, obviously just relay the question to Mary and she'll get it to me.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. So Colleen said may be a selfish request, but more webinars, program focused, more webinars. It's hard to get 40 hours weeks in right now. Webinars
Yeah.
related to mentoring. Colleen, help me out. Tell us more.
Okay, so our agency has been really good and put us on paid administrative leave, working remotely from home. That's wonderful, but a lot of our work in the mentoring world is the face-to-face work that we do with the mentors, and we can't do that right now. And we're still required to get 40 hours a week in order to get that paid administrative leave. And just like I said, it's kind of selfish, not necessarily program focused, but if there's more webinars around mentoring and things to do with mentoring, it could help fill those 40 hours.
Awesome. And that probably leads into something, Mary, you were going to hit on before you wrap today, but that's a great suggestion, Colleen. Thank you. We can load you up with a lot of additional webinars out there. We are trying to curate them in a way because there's so many options out there, but we can certainly share with IMP a bunch more.
Thank you. And I would remind you, we are going to share our some upcoming learnings, but all of our IMP peer shares are out on our website and on our YouTube channel, the past ones, and all the collaborative webinars are out there from past years too. So, I mean, those are, if you've missed them along the way, and those always resonate when they are pertinent to your program anyway. So going back and looking at those and finding some relevant to you now would be of interest, I imagine. And also, as I said, that we're sharing a lot of the online training, and I would look at some of that too when you're trying to look at some of these online platforms. And Lynn shared that Iowa Department of Public Health has a recorded webinar on ACEs, Iowa ACEs. So Lynn, if you can put that in the chat now, or else connect with Lynn at Heart of Iowa Big Brothers Big Sisters, and she could share that with you. Thanks, Angie, for your kind words. We appreciate all you do too, as well. So Nicole was going to share some of the upcoming learning that is that we have scheduled. So if you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit more about these, Nicole.
Yes, absolutely. So this Thursday, April 9th, is IMP's regular monthly peer share call. So not specifically on COVID-19, mentoring during COVID-19, but just other continuing professional development and learning. So our topic is engaging and recruiting diverse volunteer populations, and that's this Thursday at 2. April 16th, like Mary mentioned, from the collaborative mentoring webinar series, the topic is mentoring boys and young men of color, and that's at noon on the 16th. And then following that, at 1 o'clock is a webinar on webinars. So that's kind of related to, as a lot of our learning opportunities are moving online and virtual, just tips and learning for hosting and planning engaging online meetings and trainings. And then our next check-in, like 2 weeks from today, will be another IMP programs call focused again on mentoring while social distancing. And April 28th, so this is Volunteer Iowa's Innovation Exchange. This was initially in person in 2 different places across the state, but we have moved them to be online or virtual. So the topic is impact of equity and inclusion in volunteering. And our facilitator is the equity coordinator for the city of Des Moines. So that will be moving online. So we encourage you to register for that and join us.
Thanks, Nicole. For the April 20th call for this group and 2 weeks on Monday, if there's a particular topic you'd like us to talk about, would you go ahead and put that in the chat? And yes, Kathy, the 20th, the call, and 2 weeks on Monday will also be at this time. And as I said, if there's a topic you'd like us to cover, if you want to go ahead and put that in the chat, or obviously you can send it to me after this call too. And I do want to put an additional plug in for this Peer Share call on Thursday, that it is Marissa from Mentor Nebraska, and she shared this in a session at the Nonprofit Summit last fall, and it was jam-packed with information and jam-packed room, and she really ran out of time to share all of her information. So she's coming back to us and will be very specific to mentoring too. So I really encourage you to join any of those that you can. And as far as the webinar and webinars, I also shared in the newsletter a really excellent resource. It was a recorded webinar on hosting virtual meetings too, that was from the Community Foundation of the Cedar Valley, that's what they're called. So I really encourage you to look at that one too, if you're looking at, all of us moving online and just really doing a better job than I am sharing my slide. So you can learn how to do this better than I am right now if you check out any of those recordings. So Chad, I know you're on too. Did you have anything else that you wanted to share generally from Volunteer Iowa that we haven't shared?
I don't think so. Just thanks for your, I think overall thanks for continuing to support mentoring in the state in the ways you're able to. And I think, one of our things as part of Volunteer Iowa too is during times of disaster, no matter what, we are at the table to see how we can support it through volunteering or our national service programs or kind of everyone in between. And so if you are supporting any of the needs in your community as a response to the COVID-19 outbreak, thank you. Continue doing that as you are able to, and always, ensure that you feel safe and comfortable in what you're doing as well. So we do have some guidelines out there about the COVID-19 volunteer opportunities, but how to do it safely, both from an organization perspective as well as an individual volunteer perspective. So we can share that with you if in a future communication if you haven't seen that, but that's linked off of our Volunteer Iowa webpage. Otherwise, thanks again, and I think that's all I have at this point.
Thanks, Chad. We'll wrap up here. I really appreciate everyone being on today and sharing their ideas and challenges. We really want to know what's going on out there, and obviously we're here working our regular hours just remotely, so we'd love to hear from you anytime. We just appreciate all you're doing. We know it's stressful for everyone, so just much appreciation. I'm going to stop recording of this, but I will stay on for a little bit. If folks have a question they didn't want to ask with the group, or if you want to just chat, I'll just stay on for a little bit. Otherwise, you're welcome to disconnect now. So have a great week. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Take care, everybody.